Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. I am incredibly excited to share this one with you today because honestly, we are tackling a topic that has fundamentally shifted how I look at money, work, and well, life itself. Normally in these explainers we dissect external research or dive into market trends, but today I'm speaking to you from a very personal place. I'm actually sharing the core philosophy from my own blog, Append Quotes, where I write about financial therapy, passive income, and the gritty realities of investing. Today, we're taking a step back. We're looking way past the numbers, the spreadsheets, and the charts to talk about what I call the invisible ceiling. It's that psychological brick wall you hit when you suddenly realize that having enough money is really only half the battle.
But before we get into the heavy stuff, to understand where this philosophy comes from, you kind of just need to know a little bit about me. I am a typical Gen X Singaporean Chinese guy, born back in 1976. I'm married, I've got a son and a daughter, and we live in a completely standard 4-room HDB flat right here in Singapore. So listen, I am not some billionaire speaking to you from the deck of a mega yacht, okay? I'm just an everyday investor, grinding away, tracking my dividend payouts on Stocks Cafe, and trying my best to secure a solid future for my family. Everything we are about to discuss today is grounded in this very relatable, everyday reality. I'm literally just a guy who woke up one day and realized that the conventional script we've all been handed about money and retirement, yeah, it's got a massive plot hole in it.
Okay, let's dive into this. We are looking at the ultimate paradox of the FIRE movement. Financial independence, retire early. We spend decades chasing the FI part, right? We're obsessing over savings rates, yield percentages, and balancing our portfolios. But seriously, what happens when you actually hit that target? For me, I realized this one constant nagging thought kept surfacing in my mind. What if I achieve financial freedom, but I have absolutely zero desire to retire early and just do nothing? The idea of just stopping entirely, of completely stepping off the gas, it felt deeply unsettling to me.
Now, here is a crucial distinction we have to make right off the bat. Work itself is not the enemy. Actually, work can give us an incredible sense of purpose. It's often the toxic, energy-draining corporate culture that just isn't healthy for our souls in the long run. So if you think about it, the true goal of financial independence shouldn't be to escape work entirely. It should be to buy yourself the absolute freedom to do something enjoyable that actually helps other people. This is the massive allure of starting a side hustle. But a quick word of caution here. I once tried jumping into Amazon e-commerce, and let me tell you, it flat out failed. Why? Because I quickly realized I had zero passion for it. You can't just pick any random hustle because it sounds profitable. It has to resonate with you, and structurally, it absolutely has to make sense.
And this brilliantly illustrates why not all side hustles are created equal. You really have to think about active versus scalable hustles. Let's say you work as a Grab delivery rider. You get a fixed pay per trip, your income is strictly pegged to your active time and your physical effort. It's a one-to-one trade and it will not magically compound. Now compare that to something like content creation. When bloggers or YouTubers build their channels, they are front-loading their time and their capital, usually with almost nothing to show for it initially. It's a grind, but over time, they hit a critical mass. The traffic and the income begin to grow completely disproportionately to their ongoing effort. And that, my friends, is the magic of scalability.
So how does this all build into a broader, actionable framework for wealth? Well, to build a scalable hustle and truly divorce your time from your income, you need leverage. Financial writer Nick Maggioli talks about climbing the wealth ladder by using the 4 forms of leverage popularized by Naval Ravikant. First, you have labor, which is basically having other people work for you. Then you have capital, using your money to make more money. Third is code, writing software that works for you 24/7. And finally, content, media that replicates infinitely for free while you are fast asleep. The secret to success here, knowing your own strengths. I know for a fact I don't excel at managing people, and I am definitely not a coder. So I deliberately avoid labor and code, and I strictly focus my energy on capital and content.
Let's make this super concrete. I've actually mapped out some of my peers right here in the local Singaporean financial community to show you what this looks like in practice. Take Firepath Lion. He relies purely on capital leverage. Then you look at Evan Ko, the founder of Stocks Cafe, which, by the way, I use every single day. He leverages both capital and code beautifully. Great creators like Budget Babe and Calvin Learns Investing, they heavily use capital and content. And then you have the absolute titans like Adam Khoo and Mr. Liu from 1M65, who are out there utilizing labor, capital, and content all at once. The takeaway here is that they've all found their specific niche, and they are pulling the exact levers that fit their unique skill sets.
But here is where we need to make a massive, fundamental shift in our thinking today. Let's say you do it. Once you figure out the mechanics, once you pick your leverage, build your portfolio, and you actually solve the financial equation, what happens next? This is the exact moment you hit what I call the ceiling. While financial independence is absolutely crucial, when income ceases to be a worry, but you still hate the idea of doing nothing all day, you are forced to be brutally, uncomfortably honest with yourself. You have to look inward. You transition from the mechanical, how-to of building wealth to the deep, existential why of living.
If you don't believe me about how critical this transition is, consider the perspective of a university professor I once asked about retirement. He told me something that honestly sent chills down my spine. He said that many of his retired peers, once stripped of their careers, suffered a sudden, devastating loss of identity and meaning. They literally fell into deep depression, or sometimes even worse. This right here is the dark side of early retirement that your beautiful, color-coded spreadsheets don't warn you about. If you don't have a plan for your soul, simply clearing your calendar can actually be incredibly dangerous.
So the absolutely crucial point here is that we must find our ikigai. It's a Japanese concept that basically means your deeper reason for being, the thing that gets you out of bed in the morning. But when I talk to peers in my own Gen X cohort here in Singapore, the conversation almost never moves past the daily grind, the annoying boss, the company culture, or the kids' exams. To so many of them, this philosophical ceiling doesn't even exist. As long as they don't overthink it, they just wake up, rinse, and repeat. But here's the truth. Ignoring the need for a deeper purpose doesn't just magically make the need go away.
I want you to let this next thought really truly sink in. We constantly tell ourselves we don't have time to find our purpose because we are just too busy. But chronic busyness is often just a socially acceptable form of laziness. Think about it. Society gives us a gold star and a stamp of approval for being frantic, even if we are frantic about completely the wrong things. We use the endless daily grind of corporate work and household chores as a shield. It's our refusal to do the hard, uncomfortable internal work of actually steering our own lives to become better versions of ourselves, physically, mentally, and socially.
And let's be honest, when we finally do get a spare pocket of time, what do we actually do? We reach for what I call the cognitive anesthetics of modern life. We mindlessly scroll through social media for hours. We binge-watch completely meaningless dramas. We play online games. Or we hang out with energy-draining people. It's just an endless buffet of cheap distractions, and we consume them specifically because they keep us numb. They keep us just distracted enough to avoid that quiet, terrifying process of genuine self-reflection.
Which brings us to the core thesis of this entire explainer. Look, I genuinely enjoy investing. Tracking income streams is a highly profitable endeavor that I absolutely love doing. But we have to accept a really harsh reality here. Wealth only solves your financial problems. It absolutely does not solve your existential ones. Once you clear those financial hurdles and you manage to look past the daily, deafening noise of life, you are going to hit that invisible ceiling. And that exact moment, that's where the real search for purpose actually begins.
So, I want to leave you with a final provocative question today. Sure, you can ignore the quiet voice in your head right now, mostly because you have a mortgage to pay and kids to feed. I get it. But pause for a second and extrapolate your life decades into the future. What does it look like if you never curate your relationships? What does it look like if you never find a genuine passion project? What does it look like if your life never impacts anyone else? The financial equation, that is just step one. I challenge you to start looking for your ikigai today, right now, so that when you finally reach that invisible ceiling, you're ready to break right through it. Thank you so much for joining me in this explainer, and I really hope this sparks a conversation you truly need to have with yourself.